name is Rebecca Joe. I'm offering you a really great practice that you can do any time of the day, but is especially nice in the morning to get your energy going and to set you in a really good structural alignment for the day. So you're going to start on your back in a constructive rest pose. And as you can see, I have a few props here, a couple blocks of a blanket, but if you don't have them, you don't have to use them. They're just an offering to help you modify as you might need. So coming down to your back, constructive rest pose, knees bent and pointing up towards the ceiling, soles of the feet flat to the ground. And for this variation to begin, let's start with the feet about hip width apart. You'll feel the heels are in line just beneath the sitting bones. Take your hands and turn the palms to face up so you get a space across the collarbone. And then take a moment here, eyes open or closed, whatever feels more centering and grounding for you. And just start to become present to the natural flow of your breath. Just taking a moment here in a really neutral position of the spine, allowing time for the body to reset from however you may have been tossing and turning and moving around in your sleep. And then walk your feet about as wide as the mat, let your inner knees rest together. Take your hands together and begin to rub your palms. Rest your right hand over the center of your chest, rest your left hand over your lower abdomen. Allow your elbows and your shoulders to soften down so you feel heaviness in the arms. And then feel your breath moving like a weight down your body. So as you inhale, expanding your ribcage into your right hand, abdomen into your left hand. And then take an open mouth exhale and just release the breath out. Take a few more like that, inhaling, expanding the ribcage up into the right hand. Continuing that wave of expansion down into the left hand, belly rising. And then exhaling to the mouth. As you exhale, start to feel an engagement here. Gently hug the knees together and draw your navel down towards your spine. And then softening that engagement, inhale through the nose. Exhale through the mouth, navel to spine. Lightly squeeze the knees together. Now you can keep your knees together. Another variation that you can do with this, if you do have a block, is you can set your feet back to hip width apart, and then you'll take the block in between the inner legs to give you another place of contact to feel that inner engagement in the body. Rest your hands back down to the floor, whether the knees are together or you're in this variation. And then you're going to start to just feel for rocking up and down the back of the hips. So I like the variation with the block here just because it gives you this nice space and boundary in the inner legs, and it's not really about squeezing the block as much as maintaining that space and that contact. So just rocking up and down, and feeling the tail reach down and give this little bit of space in the lower back, and then feeling the lower back come down as the tail of the seat curl up. And then each time you inhale, find that arch of the spine. And then each time you exhale, either squeezing the knees or lightly squeezing the block as you bring the belly to the back. And so if you're in that variation, stay as you are. If you're in this variation, knees together, you'll feel that little bit of a hug engagement in the front of the pelvis. Just take a few more. And then find neutral. Walking your feet hip width apart if they're still wide. You're going to press down through your feet. Lift your hips just about an inch or so over to the left. And then start to extend your legs down towards the right bottom corner of the mat. If this feels like it's accessible, take your left leg and cross it over the right. And then extend your arms overhead. Reach over with your right hand, take a hold of your left wrist. And then take a full side body opening here, keeping the back of the left hip down. So in Yin Yoga, this is called a banana pose. It can also be called a crescent moon shape. But feeling that curve from the outer left ankle all the way to the left side of the body And then slowly bring yourself back. Step your feet back and line under your knees. Lift and shift your hips over towards the right. Extend the legs down towards that bottom left corner, crossing maybe right ankle over left. And then reaching over, grabbing a hold of the right wrist. Give a little bit of a tug, so you're not trying to dislocate your arm. Right? Draw the arm back into the socket so that as you pull, you bring the whole right side body over with you. Opening, take your breath into your right rib cage. And then recentering the upper body, bend your knees again. Set your feet to the ground, shift your hips so that your spine is back into a neutral place. And then bring your arms back down alongside your body. So this time, keep your upper arms alongside the body, bend the elbows so the forearms lift and your fingertips point up towards your towards the ceiling. Again, you can use a block here if you have it for another place of contact and stability. If you don't worry about it. And you're going to press down through your feet. And then at first, find that variation that we did before where you arch the spine, your sitting bones will reach down. And then as you exhale this time, squeeze the block and slowly roll up into a bridge. Press down through the back of the arms and the back of the head. Take a breath in, holding up at the top. And then as you exhale, start to slowly roll down, reaching your hips towards your heels the whole time. And then rest down. And then if this is helpful, you can keep the arms as they are, or you can just take the hands, palms to the floor, right? This time, you're gonna find that tilt of the pelvis, right? That anterior tilt of the pelvis, so the sitting bones start to reach down. And then keep that as you press your feet into the floor and lift your hips. And then keep that shape as you reach your hips down so that the sitting bones land first, rather than rolling down the spine. So we're going to try that a couple times in different variations, just seeing how that feels in the back. From here, slowly rolling up on an exhale, lightly hug the block. Doesn't have to be the biggest lift. And then slowly rolling down, keep reaching your hips towards your heels, and then start to pull your heels back towards your hips as well to create more space. And then arching the spine, so you find that space between the low back and the floor. Press down through the feet, lift straight up. And then keep that tilting shape of the pelvis as you reach the hips towards the heels towards the hips. And set the pelvis back down. And then one more time, moving through that, rolling up the spine, moving on an exhale, take a pause, breathing in at the top. And then slowly rolling yourself back down. Arching the spine as you inhale. And lifting up as you exhale. Keep that shape of the hips. Take a breath in. And then reach your hips towards your heels. Keep the arch of the spine as you lower down. And continue to pause there. If you have that block, just set it off to the side. Once again, bring your knees together, bring your feet wide. And this time let your knees rock from side to side. And then let your head drop in the opposite direction. And drop your knees to the right. Take your right ankle, place it on your outer left knee. Take your left arm and extend it up away from the left shoulder. Maybe gazing over the left arm, put your chin into your underarm. And keep the right ankle crossed over the left thigh, bring the legs back up. And then you're going to walk your left foot over maybe an inch or so to give yourself some space so the legs can drop to the other side. Take your left hand, press it gently inside of the right knee, take that right arm and extend it up. And then you might bend the elbow here, touch the back of the neck with the hands, and then just turn to look over the right shoulder. Maybe looking up towards that right elbow. And bringing the back of the head down, legs come back through center. You might stay here or drawing the left knee into chest. Then make some circles with the left knee. And circle the other direction. And set your left foot down, uncross your right leg, extend the right leg up towards the ceiling. And then just bend and extend the knee a couple times. Press the thigh into your hand, so your leg is straight up and down, and then root your leg down into your hip point and flex your right foot. Circle the toes. And then circle the other way. Watch out, point your toes up towards the ceiling, relax your hands down. You're going to point your toes down towards the bottom of the mat. Externally rotate your leg and then make a circle out. It doesn't have to be the biggest circle. It's coming around and back up to center and then point down. You can bend the knee a little here if you need and circle around. And one more time. Root down with your left foot to help you stabilize. And pointing up, draw the leg towards you, circle it around. And your circle might be up here. That's okay. Just taking 3 in each direction, coming back up through center, hug the knee into the chest. Release your right foot down. And once again, take your feet wide, rest your knees together. So each time just taking a moment to reset, to reassess. Then rock your knees from side to side, relax your arms out away from the body, turn your head in opposition. Drop your knees to point over towards the left. Take your left ankle, place it on your outer right knee, rooting that leg down, maybe taking that right arm and extending it alongside the ears just to open that side body even more. And then slowly coming back up through center, take your right foot over to the left and your left foot down to the ground. Take your right hand, pulse the inner leg to help encourage that opening. Bend your left elbow here so you catch the back of the head. Reach up through the elbow, turn to gaze under the arm. And placing the head back down. Bring your right knee to point up, right foot to the ground, and you decide either to stay as you are or hug the knee in. Hands can wrap around the shin or wrap around the thigh if that's more accessible. Make some circles with your right knee. And then circle the other way. And set your right foot down and take your hands to the back of your left thigh, extending and bending the left leg. And stretch your left foot up towards the ceiling. Press your thigh into your hands to extend the arms straight. It's okay if you keep a little bit of a bend here, but continue to feel for reaching in opposite directions. The heel reaches up as you pull the thigh down and root it into the hip. Or you can flex left foot. And just notice what you feel here. There might be a lot of little creaky feeling as you're waking up. When you circle the ankle, I get a little cracks and pops in the ankle. Notice what's starting to wake up in the body and come alive. Circle the other way. Point your toes, so drawing this half circle with the leg, move the arms away from the body. You can use the hands on the floor to help stabilize you. And really press down to that right foot, right? Point your toes down, and you might decide just to stop here. And then feel the external rotation as you circle the leg around. And then point down, maybe a little further, circling around. Add one more time in that direction. And just take it as far as it will go for you today. No push, no force. And then come back. So you start to draw the leg in towards you using the effort of the leg rather than using the hands. And then circle around, and as you get here, you internally rotate and lift back up. Just 2 more like that. And again, maybe your circles are here. And bend the knee in. And set the foot down. So you find yourself back in that constructive rest shape. Take a pause, reassess, and you might already start to notice some differences than when you woke up and first got yourself in this position. And take your hands onto your knees. So palms are flat into the kneecaps, fingertips are pointing down towards the toes. Press your knees into your hands so you create tension in the arms. And then draw your arms back down into your shoulders to make space across the collarbone. Press your palms straight down so that both thighs get really rooted. Take a breath in. As you exhale, bend your knees, draw your knees towards your chest, and just keep that position in the hands. Inhale, press the knees into the fingers, extending the arms straight. And exhale, pull the knees in. Just one more time with them. And take your hands and wrap them around the front of your shins. Begin to rock up and down your spine. So at first, just rocking up and down. From the tail to the shoulders, back of the head. And then after a few times, you find a little bit of air time. And then you might take the hands to the back of the thigh. Get a moment of balance. And then coming back again. And just one more time, rocking back. And this time holding yourself upright. You can keep your hands on the back of your thighs. You can bring your hands to the floor anywhere you need to help support you. Notice this tendency to want to collapse back. Try and shift your weight forward, even if that means hands come to the ground or even toes come to the ground. And then gazing out past the toes. Maybe you flip the arms for a moment, turning the palms to revolve up so you can make that space across the collarbone. And then release your feet to the ground. So finding your feet hip width apart. Again, you could always slide that block between the thighs here if you wanted to. Place your fingertips to face forward towards the front of the mat. And then bend your elbows, pulling back through the elbows as you lift through your chest. Lift your gaze, press your thumb and index fingers, press through the feet, and then lift the hips up. Press the ground away with your hands and your feet. Keep moving weight into the inner hands so you can get out of the pinkies. Reach to the crown of the head, maybe you take the head back between the shoulders. And then slowly start to bring yourself back down, pulling the seat towards the floor so you sit again, but towards the front of the pelvis. And then take your feet a little bit wider as you bring yourself to drape over the legs. So armpits are going to bend your kneecaps. Hands are going to take opposite angles so the arms are crisscrossed. Walk your feet a little bit wider apart, but only go as far as you can measure out and keep a hold of the ankles. Now, you could, if you had a blanket or a towel or a pillow, sit up on that to give yourself a little bit of a different elevation. Bend the elbows a little as if you're trying to pull the shins together and then draw the knees apart. Take your chest out and see what's ahead of you. And then whichever arm you have on top, I have the right arm on top, and we can just do that for consistency. You're going to keep that hand in place on the left ankle and then swing your left arm up. Lean back to find your idea with your right shoulder, maybe even the head by the knee. See that left hand, swim it around. Keep watching the hand until it connects with the right ankle. And then switch sides. Take yourself over to the left side, swing the right arm up. And then see the hand, keep seeing it, look around, swim the arm through the air. And then keep going side to side, and if this is familiar to you, maybe you start to move with a little bit more rhythm. Keeping your seat planted to the surface that's beneath you, whether that's a mat, a blanket, block, pillow. And then take just a few more swims around, a few more strokes. And balancing out, find yourself back in center. And then set your hands to the floor, look out, and bring yourself upright. And walk your feet in. Set your feet down to the floor. If you have that blanket there, you could slide it underneath the heels, just again to give you a different elevation. And you'll come into a standing forward hang. If you don't have the blanket, don't worry about it, heels will be on the ground. Take your hands into two fists, slide them between the arches of the feet, and then walk the feet in until they meet the outer hands. You know you have hips distance there. And then bend the knees a lot. Rest your ribs on your thighs. Let your upper body hang. And then just taking hands to the floor, fingertips down to the ground. Shift your weight forward and back, whether you have the blanket there or not. So as you tip forward, you take weight into the hands, maybe you look out a little. As you tip back, you feel the weight in the heels and the seat and the back body. Just keep moving till you move forward into the future. As you move too far forward, you have to use the hands more to handle that shape. As you move too far back, you get a little bit stuck. From here, keep the knees bent, keep the ribs on the thighs, and then start to crawl your fingertips forward. Now, if you have blocks, this is a nice place to use blocks. And you can take your hands onto the blocks, maybe come onto fingertips on the blocks so you stay light and lifted and you just have a little bit more space. If you don't have blocks, fingertips to the ground is fine. And then start to reach your seat back. Keep moving knees forward, gaze out. And take your hands over towards the right. So if you imagine yourself standing on a clock face with 12 o'clock in front of you, you're now looking out to 2. Take your gaze out, pull the left hip back. Find your breath moving into your left lung, left rib cage. Ground down through that left foot to stabilize the shape. Then come back through center. Take it over towards the left, so now looking out towards 10 o'clock. Root down to that right foot, draw back to the right hip. Come onto the fingertips to make the shape lighter. Looking out, seeing what is in front of you, what's around you. And then bringing hands back to center. And fold over the legs. Rest your hands down, head heavy. Start to lift the hips higher. Maybe you take a hold opposite elbows. Finding that frame around the head, draw the elbows down as you lift the seat up. Taking a deep breath in. And exhaling out through the mouth. Reach your elbows straight forward, bend your knees 90 degrees. Look out, see what's past your arms. Reach your hips straight back, so 6 o'clock behind you. And then start to unfold. Stay low in your seat, lifting through the elbows, find a back bend with the gaze. Press the ground away, rise to stand. So whether you're on a blanket or you're on the floor, staying as you are, reach your arms overhead, hook your thumbs. Reach up to the fingertips, press down through the feet, and then start to take your upper body from side to side. Pushing your hips to the right as you reach through that left hand to the left. Then pushing your hips to the left as you reach through that right hand to the right. Coming back up through center. Take your hands, clasp them behind your back, interlace your fingers, bend your elbows away from each other, almost like you're trying to pull the hands apart. And then bend your knees, start to sit back again, keep the chest lifted, sit low, and then pull the hips back. Rest your ribs on your thighs, let your head get heavy. And take the arms up and overhead. Take a deep breath in. Exhale out through your mouth. Let your hands come down. And then take opposite elbows with the other forearm in front. Bending the knees, reach your tail back behind you, reach your elbows straight forward, moving in opposition. Shift your weight forward and back from the balls to the heels. Find the middle. Unfold at the hips, stay low in the seat, find the back bend. Take the gaze up. Press the ground away, rise to stand. Hook your thumbs, other thumb in front, reach up to the fingertips, press down to the feet. Take the body from side to side. And then coming back up through center, clasp your hands again behind you. So take the opposite, interlace, however you do it normally across the hands. Start to pull back through the knuckles, pull wide through the elbows, widen the collarbone, lift your gaze, soften in the knees. And then start to sit down, keeping the chest lifted, keep the back bend. Pull your seat back, keep the gaze forward, and then drink yourself down, head heavy. Just letting your head turn from side to side. This time, bending the knees a little bit more, sit back just to support your upper body with your lower body. And then you're gonna drop your left shoulder onto your left knee, pull the hands over to the side, let your head drop down. And then take it to the other side, right shoulder rests on the right knee, pulling the hands over to the right, let the head drop. Step yourself back into a downward facing dog and give that blanket there, slide it off to the side. And then just start to move your dog around. Bending the knees, shifting the weight of the hands, feet. Take your knees to the ground, set yourself up into a tabletop. So shoulders over wrists, hips right over the knees, plug down through the inner hands, thumb and index finger connecting. Press down through the tops of your feet and find your little pinky toenail connected into the floor. And then start to put a wave in the spine moving through cat-cow. So it's a very similar movement than how we began on our backs. Right? Feeling from the tail to the crown, lifting and lowering. And then find a breath here. As you inhale around the spine, as you exhale, look up. And then maybe you go a little faster. So take a rhythm that really supports you at this point. Right? If it's morning for you, waking yourself up, maybe going a little faster. If it's evening, maybe you slow yourself down a little bit, steady your energy and ground. Keep connecting hands and feet down whether you're going slow or fast. Keep your breath moving. And allow it to be a continuous flow in a wave, rather than trying to push to the extreme of either shape. How do you transition? How do you get from one space to the next? How do you actually move forward, rather than just focusing on where it is that you're going? Take 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Round your spine. Press the right away, take a deep breath in. Exhale through the mouth, find neutral. Extending from the crown to the tail. Tuck your toes under, shift your weight forward and back. And if it's accessible to you, you might flip your fingertips here. The middle finger is facing back towards the knees as you shift your weight, starting to move the feet over the wrist. Bend the elbows a little bit. Kick your gaze slightly forward. And then start to sit back on your heels. Keep your toes tucked under. And then see if you can keep the knuckles down for a little bit longer as you start to bend the elbows back. As you bend the elbows back, reach the wrist back towards the floor. And then try and pull the elbows apart. Keeping the gaze slightly out. And then slowly come to sit back on your feet. So again, you can always use a block here or a stack of blocks to sit on to make this a little bit more accessible in the feet. If you don't need that, put that to the side and just sit back on your heels. From here, interlace your fingers, press your palms to extend overhead. Press down through your feet so you're not just dropping into your seat, but you're actually getting some buoyancy. And you might even flip your hips maybe a little over the heels. But then try and reach your hips back down so you make even more space. From here, bend your right elbow out to the side. And then start to make circles with the arms. And so I'll show you from the back so you can see as well. Palms facing up. Try and keep the clasp as best as you can. And then just reverse that, go the other way, counterclockwise circles. Just sort of flossing the shoulders. It's like you floss your teeth in the morning. And reach up through the palms. And release your hands down. Come onto the tops of your feet and tap the feet out if that feels good for you. Sitting back on your heels, or again, you can sit on the block. And then find the non-habitual clasp of your hands, interlace your fingers, press your palms overhead. And then once again, just start to circle. And so it doesn't matter which way you go first. It's interesting to notice though what your tendency is. Do you go in that clockwise spin of time? Do you go in that counterclockwise spin? Spin of the personal. And then reaching out with the hands, take a breath in. And release the hands down. So if you're on a block, you can stay as you are. If you're not, sit down on your heels. And then walk your hands back, maybe lifting the knees to stretch the tops of the feet. And then if you're here, maybe you make some circles with the knees. And then the other way. And Rest your knees down to the ground. Shift your weight forward, come into tabletop. Take your right leg and cross it in front of your left. So you come into this triangle shape with the legs, feet wide and off the edge of the mat. And then walk yourself back to sit. Now again, you can sit on a block or a blanket here. Shift your hips over about an inch towards your left foot, just to center yourself so that you're in line with the pubis to that right knee. And then holding onto the heels, start to circle the hips. So again, sitting on a block or a blanket is going to make the shape a little bit more accessible in the hips. If you needed to, you could always extend that bottom leg, and then just rest your fingertips to the floor to find that spin. And then just keep spinning around. And then spin it the other way. And pressing both sitting bones down. Take your left fingertips off the left side of the mat. Reach your right arm up and overhead. Find a side bend. Stay light in the left fingertips. And then bring yourself up and over to the other side. And then moving up through center. Crawl yourself forward. And then just swing the other leg in front. Sit yourself back down. Adjust as you need to, propping yourself up on blocks or blankets or extending right leg forward. And then shift your hips about an inch to the right this time. And then once again, just spinning around. Let the chest move, let the head move. And then go the other way. Find yourself sitting upright, both sitting bones remain into the ground. Crawl your right fingertips off to the right side, take your left arm up and overhead, gaze under the arm. Press the ground release to get light and look to the right side. And start to turn to look under the arm. This time bend the elbow, catch the back of the head, reach to the elbow. And then bring yourself up and over to the other side. Left fingertips down, right arm reaches up. Bend the right elbow, catch the back of the head, reaching for that right elbow to look under the arm. Root down through the right sitting bone. And then bring yourself upright. Come back onto your hands and knees. Just uncross your legs. Find your way into downward dog again. Keep a bend in your knees. Pedal out your feet. Bending both knees and lift the sitting bones high as you reach your heels down and take your gaze out. Spiral your armpits towards your chest. And then come forward into plank, look out, see what's ahead of you. Come back, downward dog on the knees. And come forward. And come back. And then keep going, coming forward and back, using the energy of the low body, the stability of the feet on the floor, pressing against the ground to move you forward. Moving pelvis forward, folding and unfolding at the hips. So it's not an effort of pulling yourself, dragging yourself forward, but rather pressing off of the strength of what's beneath you, what's behind you. Take 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Coming back, let the knees reach your seat back, press the ground away. Take a deep breath in. Exhale, stick out your tongue, lion's breath. If you're somewhere where you can do it, make a little sound here. Inhale through your nose. Exhale. And one more time, breathing in. And breathing out. Look out between your fingertips. Step your right foot to lunge between your hands. Take your back knee to the ground. Untuck your right toes, walk your fingertips out. Fit your right knee into your right armpit. And then look out. And just let the hips bounce up and down. Keep your feet rooted to the ground. And shift your hips forward so the pubis in the front moves towards 12 o'clock. Pull your tail back to 6. Set your right hand inside of your right foot to your left hand to your hip. Look out, press your right knee to your shoulder, and then start to spin yourself around. Maybe taking left arm up. See your left hand. alongside the ear, reaching through the fingertips. And then take your left hand down. Set your hand either inside of the foot, or maybe you cross left elbow, left arm outside of knee. Make a fist with your left hand. Stack your right palm on top. See 12 o'clock in front of you, and then begin to spiral around. Maybe look up. And release your hands down. Step back into downward dog. Come forward as you did before towards plank. This time keep moving the hips towards the hands. You reach back to the heels, lift your gaze into upward dog. And then bend the knees, pull the seat back, like downward dog. And then coming forward, upward dog. And then pulling back, downward dog. One more time. Keep the gaze out as you come back. Holding here, inhale. Big exhale. Lunge your left foot forward. Take your back knee to the ground. Walking your fingertips out, find that fit knee and armpit. Press through your feet, let your hips bounce up and down, a little, just finding a bit of buoyancy in the body. Shift your hips towards your front heel. Feel like you want to drag your left heel back, so your left hand inside of the foot, right hand will come to the sacrum. Draw the tail back as you move the pelvis forward. Pull your right sitting bone to the right, pull your left sitting bone to the left, and then press your left knee into your shoulder to spiral your heart around. Right arm can reach up. Extend right arm alongside the ear, reaching through the fingertips, maybe see your hand. And then right hand is either going to come down inside of the foot, which is a little bit of more of a gentle twist, or you can hook the elbow, shoulder as you have accessibility outside of the leg. See that your knee is still over the ankle, make a fist with the right hand, stack the left palm on top. And then think there's a backward here, so lean back. Press down through the feet. And release the hands down, step back, downward dog. And maybe you stay on fingertips this time as you come forward into upward dog, just one time. And come back, downward dog. Lunge the right foot forward again, take the back knee to the ground, untuck the back toes. This time finding eagle wrap, take your right arm under and around the left. See if you can hold on to the left wrist with the right hand. Hook your armpit right into the knee. Just let that left hand flop for a moment. And then make it into a fist. Reach your elbows out, punch your fist up and back. Press the ground away. Keep reaching up through the elbows. And then release your hands down. Step back, downward dog. And switch sides. Left foot lunges forward, right leg comes down to the knee to the ground. Rest your hands on your thighs. This time taking left arm under and around, so you hold on to the right wrist. Let that right hand just walk around for a moment. Make a fist with your right hand. Press through your feet, reach your elbows forward, punch your fist up. Rooting down with that left foot. Pressing back to that right pinky toenail, reach the elbows up towards the ceiling, punch your fist towards the wall behind you. And then unwind, release your hands down. Step back, downward dog. Coming forward into a tuck to an upward dog as you inhale. Coming back into downward dog as you exhale. And then keeping your right hand on the floor, take your left hand, set it on your lower back. Draw back to your seat, plug down through the inner hand. Shift forward into plank. Keep your gaze out, keep your left hip down, and this may feel like it's enough. Maybe you take your knees to the floor. Maybe you twist open to the left. Left arm reaching up. And then swing the hand up through the air, slowly come back. Plug your left palm into the floor, take your right hand into your low back, pull back through that right sitting bone as you press down to the left hand. Shift your right forward into plank, take your gaze out. Keep pulling your right hip to its own side. And the knees can stay lifted as you twist. Or knees can come down. Having a block between the thighs is really helpful here as well. And then you'll release the hand down, come back into downward dog. This time, shift into plank. Flip your right fingertips. Keep a bend in the right elbow. And then step forward, see if you can step on your hand. So heel will find the back of the hand, toes will turn out 45 degrees. If that's not going to work for you today, just set the right foot outside of the right hand. Left heel will turn down, toes turning out. And then plug your right leg to your shoulder. Take your left hand to your hip, take your knees out. See what's ahead of you, so again, looking out to 12, tail back to 6. And then spin yourself around. Keep spinning yourself around, press the knee to the shoulder. Keep pulling that left sitting bone to its own side. Maybe the left arm comes up and extends overhead. And then release the hand down, lift your back heel, step back, flip the fingertips, come back into down dog. Let's just come forward one time, upward dog, inhale. And then you come back again, downward dog, exhale. Shift forward into plank, flip left fingertips back. If you're choosing that variation, step on the hand. So toes turn out 45 degrees in the front, 45 degrees out to the right and the back. So think that back foot is finding this front right corner of the mat. The left toes are turning out towards that left corner. Again, modify here as you need by just placing the hand inside of the foot. And then knee finds the shoulder, bend the elbow a little bit just to make really good contact. So you have a right angle in that knee. Right hand to the hip. Draw the tail back and look out. Root down through the outer edge of that right foot. And then begin to spin yourself around. Press your left knee into your shoulder. Keep turning. Reaching right arm up and overhead. And then release your right hand down. Lift your back heel, step back, flip your hands down dog. And then coming forward, upward dog. Coming back, downward dog. Set your hands back about a handprint to shorten your stance. Crisscross your legs again, so right leg is in front. And then feet are still about hip width apart, bend your knees. Shift your weight into your right hand. Pivot on your toes, so they turn to face back. Knees are going to land over the heels. Lift your hips and extend your left arm up and overhead. Press through that right hand from an index finger rooting down. Lift the heels again, find that little bend in the hips, the fold of the hips. Left hand will find the ground, swing that left leg around, and spin it around the other way. And then keep turning. If this is a new movement for you, go a little slower. As you become familiar, start to make it a continuous flow of action. Weaving the legs around, folding and unfolding. And then coming back around, just uncross the legs. Keep that short downward dog. Maybe your heels find the ground. Right hand will stay plugged into the floor. Left hand's going to come back to find in the outer right heel. And if you need to, just keep stepping the hands and feet together. Or you could take blocks under your hands. Plugging that right hand down wherever it is. Bend your left knee, find your left underarm. Spiral to look under the right shoulder. Lift that left hip a little higher as you reach the heel down. So it's a twist. Switch hands, left hand down, right hand comes by the outer left heel, so it goes across the top of the foot and around. Bend your right knee to find your right underarm. Start to spiral to look under your left underarm. Left leg extends any amount. And then even though this right knee is bending to find the shoulder, keep lifting that right hand up. Keep reaching that right heel down. Release. Walk your hands back to the back of the mat. Rest your arms on your thighs. Lift one foot at a time. Slide your hands underneath your feet so your toes meet your wrists. Let your head get heavy. Shake it up. This may feel like it's enough sensation. You might lift one heel at a time, pressing the ball a little bit down, bringing that knee towards the shoulder. Just take a few breaths each side. Release your hands. Bring your hands around so that the middle finger comes up the center of the foot towards the ball. Heel catches into the palm. And then let the head drop. And then bend your knees, lift your gaze. And then lift your hips, drop your head. And then keep going up and down. Building a little bit more heat and energy for the day. And folding over the legs. Release your hands down. Crawl your fingertips out. Give yourself a little bit more space here as we did in the beginning. Reaching your seat back. Look out, and once again, walking hands over towards the right. Pulling back through the left seat. And then walking hands over towards the left, out towards 10 o'clock. Pull back through the right hip. And then coming back from center, drape yourself over your legs, interlace your fingers, catch the back of the neck. And then release your hands down. Let your head stay heavy. Think throwing your knees forward towards your shoulders as you slowly bring yourself up to stand. Once again, catching arms overhead. Just seeing how this time around maybe it feels a little different. Hook the thumbs, reach up to the fingertips. This time come onto the balls of the feet. And then drop the heels down, bend the knees, exhale. Catch the hands behind you. Just go ahead and fold this time. Rest your head towards the floor. And then releasing the hands down. Once again, rolling slowly up the spine. Send the knees forward. Feel balance between front and back side. Rolling up, catch the arms overhead, hook the thumbs, other thumb in front. Fingertips reach up and onto the balls of the feet, find a little bit of balance. And then release the heels down, bend the knees, fold, catch opposite elbows, other hand on top. Drop the weight of the head. And then release your hands to the floor, crawl your fingertips forward and slowly bring your knees to the ground. So we'll finish today with just a little breath of fire practice, a few little pranayama exercises. Find any seat that works for you, sitting on a block, a blanket, whatever you need. Come to sit tall, close your eyes for a moment. And just check in with yourself, feel your seat on the ground, feel your crown lifting up. And then take your arms overhead, make cups with your hands. Lift your cups up towards the ceiling to a big wide V from the center of the chest up to the centers of the palms. Eyes open or closed here is up to you. And then we're going to take 50 counts of breath and fire. So take a full cycle of breath in. Exhale out. Feel that engagement navel to spine and how that sends the breath out. Relax your abdomen. And then count 50 quick exhales. Empty the lungs. Hook the thumbs overhead. Take a deep breath in with your mouth. Hold the breath in. Reach up through the fingertips. Root down through the sitting bones. Take another breath in through the mouth. And then lengthen again. Fingertips up, seat down. Take 3 more steps through the mouth. And then exhale, let it go. Take a moment to come back into a natural breath. Then we'll take just a few rounds of alternate nostril breath to really balance everything out for the day. So with your right hand, close off your right nostril. We'll do just a really simple version of this. Eyes can be open or closed. Exhale whatever breath you have in the body out to the left side, just to sort of clear the slate. And then then keep the right nostril covered as you inhale through the left side. Use your floating pinky and ring finger to close off the left side. Exhale out through the right. Inhale through the right side. Seal the right side. Exhale through the left. Inhale through the left. Seal the left nostril and exhale through the right. So continue going side to side. And you can really do this for as long as you have time for it. It's nice to pick a count or set a timer if you're going to do this on your own. But for the sake of this video, let's just do 3 more full rounds, left to right, right to left. Feel the difference, what it's like to breathe through the left side as opposed to the right. Difference of sensation, temperature, availability, congestion versus open space. And then when you come to complete your last cycle, so you'll finish with an exhale out through the left side. Just release your hands to rest back down, palms on the thighs. Let your eyes close. Now feeling the breath moving in and out on its own, and you may notice that it comes more through one side than the other. Just doing your best to find a really nice, even, balanced breath. Take an inhale, count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Exhale, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Again, inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Exhale, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. It's allowing the breath to fall into a nice, balanced, equal rhythm. And then as you're ready, just opening your eyes, greet the day. Thank you so much. Please let me know if you have any questions, any feedback that you want to leave us. I hope that you enjoy these videos, and